My guest today is Alexander, a multidisciplinary artist based in Fort Worth. Alexander, before we talk about your show that's currently up at Tulips Fort Worth, tell us a little bit about your journey. You've spent some time on the West Coast.
I have. I've spent about 12 years on and off living in Oregon, performing many different jobs and delving into all sorts of different art that I can get my hands on.
And you work in all different mediums, but right now you seem to be focused on oil and oil on wood. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's definitely been a concurrent theme, is oil works, slow painting, working on wood or found material, building it up and using it as kind of a reactive surface to whatever's going on in my life at the time.
Now, does wood change the look of the art, or is it more about just the material itself that you find appealing?
It is the material in itself, and it's the reactivity, painting on it rather than canvas. It's rigid, and I feel like there's a different connection to the surface itself.
Living organism.
Yeah, I mean,
at one point it was. Yeah, at one point it was.
Absolutely. But even more than that, I feel like for me and how I play with paints and how I paint in a very active format, it seems to really reciprocate with that, and I get those big, thick brush strokes that I'm after. Okay.
Well, when folks come to see the show, there are some themes we've talked about. Well, you tell the folks what they can expect.
Well, there is a lot of portraiture and there's a lot of figurative works. For the most part, it is a autonomic, therapizing process of dealing with depression and thoughts of suicide and the failing environment around us and living in the climate of concrete.
Now, are those personal experiences or experiences you've seen through your friends, or a mix of both?
It's definitely a mix of both. Yeah. It's definitely a narrative, a duologue between living in a city and spending lots of time in nature to try to get away, think, reflect, and wrestle with the human condition.
Well, when I messaged you last time, you were out on a long walk or on a trail, so you do find time to get in the nature. Why is that important to you? Is that a personal thing, or is that an artistic thing, or?
They're not separate.
Yeah.
It is to clear my head, think about my work and what else, and to not think.
Okay. You've mentioned before that process is important for you. So from beginning to end, what is that like for you as an artist?
Process, I think it's even more important than the finishing product or even the conceptual state of it. It's taking those ideas, taking visual cues from what I see, the pictures I take, the pictures I see, trying to imitate other aspects of life and resculpting them, redrawing them, repainting them in different mediums and approaching it and seeing really how to frame the conversation that's impactful to myself first and hopefully to someone else. Yeah. Someone else can take it and relate and be like, I get this.
Well, your stuff's you self-reflect a lot, and you're focusing on big existential ideas for sure. We're talking about that. Have you learned anything through the artistic process that's made life more livable for you? Let's just go. Yeah. What are those lessons you can share?
The biggest lesson I've ever learned is to just let go. Okay. And that is incredibly difficult for me and my over-processing to take a moment, take an action, take something possibly potentially hurtful or even impactful and letting it go, letting it happen, and in my own work that is definitely embracing mistakes, embracing little happy accidents and being okay with it, working around it, working through it.
And that's the process as well. And we've talked before, painting's not perfect. You like the imperfection of it. You have to fix things. It's a process. You're not clicking on a shutter.
Yes.
So
yeah, even in my photography, I like to heavily edit. I like to layer. I have tried and dabbled with a certain set of perfectionism, especially in figurative and portrait work, where I'm trying to get something to look exactly as I'm perceiving it. It doesn't work. finding those ways that it moves, it bends, especially in reaction to the material I'm using or the substrate, is the joy, is the happiness of it, of finding something more in the image of what I'm expecting.
Well, it's been fun getting into your mind,
cool.
And I think people will enjoy the show, having talk to the artists a bit, some good lessons, get out in nature, learn to let go, and enjoy the process, right? Enjoy the ride, as they say.
Yeah, enjoy it all.
Enjoy it all.
Even the ups, the downs, the little bits.
It's all part of life.
Yeah.
Where can folks follow you on social media?
They can follow me at heretical_alchemist.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I have my art, and it's a livable, live journal of such, of just what I'm working on, what I do as it comes out.
You're a very open guy. Yeah. We appreciate that. The show's up through this month at Tulips Fort Worth. It's presented by Art Tooth, a nonprofit, and a quick disclaimer, I'm a volunteer for Art Tooth, but come by, enjoy the show, follow him on Instagram, and we really enjoy learning about your art.
Thank you. I appreciate the questions.
It's been fun. I appreciate the answers. Likewise.